Hi there, this is James Swanwick, and you're listening to the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn how to take back control over alcohol and live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thanks for joining me today on the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast. I have the honor of interviewing one of our Project 90 graduates. Please welcome Jon Balint. Jon is a devoted husband and proud father to a 21-year-old daughter. Jon has a zest for life. He finds joy in both golfing and boating. He enjoys the thrill of the outdoors. He is a heck of a runner. Professionally, Jonathan thrives in the oil and gas industry as an accomplished account manager. He resides in the city of Calgary, Alberta, and he seamlessly balances his dynamic career with his passion for family and adventure. Jon was one of my discovery calls months ago. And if you book your discovery call, you and I may have a similar conversation to the one I had with Jon. Jon was careful. He was cautious. He had so many questions. In fact, when I got off the phone, I thought, Jon really wants this all solved today, now. And it's a process. But what I remember hearing in Jon's voice was trepidation, some fear, quite a bit of self-loathing. The man you're going to meet today is no longer like that, as I just described in the introduction. So I'm excited for you to listen to Jon's story, learn from him, gain some inspiration, and I'm certain that what you hear will help you in your pursuit of an alcohol-free lifestyle. Welcome, Jon. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Coach V, for having me.
It's always an honor. Jon, you have been an outstanding member of Project 90 and now Beyond 90, which is our post 90-day program, which takes our members to at least 1 year of alcohol-free living. As I mentioned in the intro, it did take us a minute to get you in here, but once you came in, you were all in. And as I've shared with you before, I've always respected and admired that about you. I thought we would start by just hearing from you. Tell us a little bit about what it was like when you were drinking. What got you to the point of feeling that sense of fear and some self-loathing, things like that? Can you speak to that?
I think it was, there's just a lot of roller coaster rides and guilt, and life was just not good. I wasn't happy. I was just in kind of a bit of a downward spiral, and it just wasn't stopping. My personal life was kind of in shambles. My family was worried about me. It started to creep into my work. And I just, woke up one day and said, I can't do this anymore, and started looking for options to help me get out of my funk.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned in the past that you felt some significant amount of anxiety in your life. As you've learned in the program, alcohol is a tricky drug because it's a stimulant and a depressant. And as it wears off, it adds to our anxiety. Were you one of those, because I certainly was, that you believed that alcohol was going to help you manage anxiety?
Yes. I thought it could mask the anxiety and, make it go away along with the stress and other issues. And
Mm-hmm.
it just became a vicious cycle of, getting up and dealing with some issues, and then if I would solve it, I'd reward myself with a drink, and then if I couldn't solve it, I was stressed out, and then I would have a drink or many drinks to sort of, I guess, hide the or dissipate the discomfort of being whatever feelings I had that particular moment.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I bet a lot of listeners relate to that. Absolutely. It's a tricky thing because in the moment, during those first couple of drinks, it does mask the anxiety. It's designed to do that. And if it only did that and we could have a couple and relax, that would be great. But drugs don't work that way. And so we fall into that vicious cycle. I was the same way. So I'm hearing you say you would reward yourself with a drink if you were able to work something out, and then you would self-medicate with drinking if you couldn't, and if it exacerbated the feelings that go along with anxiety.
100%. And what I learned from that as well is that I would create way more problems for myself than there actually needed to be. You know, as you would have one drink, and I could never have one or two drinks. There was always 5 or 6 or 8 or 10, and then late nights, and then then the wife would be upset, and the daughter would be upset, and then it was just avoidance of the family, not wanting to deal with problems at home, and it just turned into a real nightmare for me.
Mm-hmm. I want to touch on, I just took a note because I want to touch on that a little more shortly. So when I introduced you, I mentioned our discovery call and my experience of you during that conversation. Would you say that's pretty accurate? What state of mind were you in when you and I had that conversation?
I was in kind of a I was sad. I was a sad soul, I guess. I I think I had been sober for a week or two in efforts to try and find out or figure out a problem or to solve the problem. And then I remember it was Sunday afternoon and I was out with Kula. We were out having a pedicure, and
Mm-hmm.
and I took the call. I think we had a call. I was taking it from the truck, and I
Mm-hmm.
was just sad and confused, and um, just all the feelings. Just shame. Uh, you know, self. I guess like disappointed in myself that that it's gotten this far. That I needed to reach out for help. There's just all kinds of uh, thoughts that were going through my head.
Mm-hmm. If you're listening and this resonates with you, there's a reason. As you know, here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle and in Project 90, we work with a specific type of individual. Jon fits our profile. Jon is a problem solver. He manages other people. He helps other people find solutions. Can you relate to that if you're hearing this right now? Jon isn't in a position where people are coming to him to help him solve problems. That can create a lot of cognitive dissonance for the people that join our community. It can be confusing, as Jon said, a lot of confusion. On one hand, I can do all these things. I can solve all these problems. I have great strategies for doing lots of stuff, and I can't fix this. The result of that, as Jon also said, are feelings of shame, embarrassment, disbelief. How did I get here? I actually have to get help for this thing. And so if you're experiencing that, I just want to reassure you but it's normal and it's okay. So thank you for being so vulnerable around that, Jon. Going to help our listeners.
Yeah, I guess through my anxiety issues that I had previously, the vulnerability kind of becomes a little more natural than what maybe the next person might. I just find that some of the methods that we learned through my dealing with my anxiety issues, are similar to what we deal with or work with in the Beyond 90, or sorry, not Beyond 90, through Project 90.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So you had all these feelings, you had a conversation with me. I could sense some resistance, some fear to leaning into this, to taking a trust fall. And I understand, after all, you had only seen us on social media, heard us perhaps on a podcast. You don't know these people. All of a sudden, you're having this deep conversation with a stranger. And we invite you, because we see that we can help you. You fit our community. We invite you to join us. Can you remember what it was that finally got you over the tipping point, where you finally said, okay, I'm all in? Because as I mentioned, when Jon came in, he was all in. Can you describe what that was like?
Yeah, it was, I don't really know what kind of, I think I was just kind of so struggling and with no answers. I was just really willing to try anything at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And when the program was described to me, we talked about the Zoom calls and then the polos and whatnot, I was like, that kind of seems to fit. It just seems easier to manage. And the description of the other network of people that were in there, it seemed more along the lines of who I would resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
So those were kind of a couple of the big things that I think kind of allowed me to move forward with the program.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got involved with the program, I was a little overwhelmed at first with trying to fit the meetings and the polos in.
Sure.
But I prioritized it in my calendar, and it just became a habit. It took a little bit of work for the first couple of weeks, but then it wasn't even work. It was like I was waiting for the next call and rushing back to get on the call. It was really the information, the discussion topics, the people made it very welcoming and enjoyable, and I guess made me feel good about myself and provided hope, which was something that I lacked for years, I guess, if I'm being really honest with myself. So hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about coming into this community, because at first blush, people say, so I'm getting on these Zoom calls with people I don't know, but you tell me they're going to be a lot like me. Tell us a little bit about the relationships and the friendships that have developed as a result of coming into this group of like-minded individuals.
Again, in the beginning, I was very skeptical of it, because social media and sort of this virtual world that we live in. But you soon realize that everyone is drawn together for a common bond, and the discussions and the relationships that are built are very how do I want to describe this? They're not superficial. It's not like little idle chit chat to sort of introduce and make people here. It's like very right off the hop. You're kind of right in sync. You're right in deep in the water with everyone,
Mhm.
and the relationships are deep and meaningful, and they're, there's a lot of substance to them.
Thank you for sharing that. When people join our community, they often will come in a bit skeptical, like, is this real? I mean, like-minded, what does that even mean? Like-minded individuals. But often, especially because we work with high achievers, high performers, people who solve other people's problems, it does when they join the program, it feels like a big exhalation. Like, wow, these people are a lot like me. We're not just here because we all struggle with our drinking. We have a similar value system. We are driven, we're high performers, self-professed overachievers in lots of areas. Did you have that sense as well, that you could kind of just stop the internal monologue all the time and you could finally talk about the stuff that was driving you back to the drinking?
100%. One of the things that I learned very quickly, I'm a little bit kind of shy in the group settings, um, but the group allows you to build confidence very quickly, because you soon realize that um, it's bizarre how this poison can bring us all together,
Mm,
and what I'm feeling, there's a very good chance that, the entire group or half of the group has felt the same feelings or had the same issues. So it's not like you're out in left field, um, and everyone looking at you, like you had three eyes. Everyone, it's like, oh, somebody will say, oh, I feel the same way, or I really resonated with that. So
mhm.
that was very, very heartwarming. And I think that's why all these relationships are so deep, because everyone can relate with one another.
Right. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we've had people share that, they can talk to people in our community about things that they've never been able to talk to anyone about, even some of their best friends or their siblings. And, we're not here to replace those relationships, but each relationship in our life can serve a different purpose. And I think what we bring to one another is very significant and allows a lot of breakthroughs.
And I think even, um, you know, my wife was always asking, it's like, well, why do you choose the drinking over the family or whatnot? And it's like, I can't explain it to her. And it's difficult to have the conversation with the family members, but everybody in the group completely understands what's going on. And that just,
Mhm.
it doesn't make me feel like a bad person. It just, everyone is very supportive and helpful, and has some experience that they can lend that you can draw from. So that's been, I just love the group. All the people, there's some relationships are a little deeper than others, just because, there's just, like in any relationship, there's
Of
just, you're
course.
drawn to certain people. But
Mhm.
every single member of both of the groups, um, has touched my heart in some fashion,
Mm.
said something that really resonates with me, or had a little um, comment that, I've written down in my little journal that I, lean to, or review every once in a while.
Mhm. Well said, John. Well said. So you graduated from Project 90. You hit your 90-day mark. You're now in Beyond 90, and your life has gotten so much lighter. And can you tell us a little bit about what life is like now? Specifically, I'd like to start with the the com- I'd like you to compare and contrast what it's like to wake up in the morning, because you described waking up and thinking, "Oh boy, I've got issues with my wife, my daughter's upset, I'm hungover." And of course, I know because I've been working with you this whole time, but things are different at home. You certainly wake up with a different perspective. Can you share a little bit about just that part? What's that like now?
Oh, it's so awesome. Um, like once you kind of get into the rhythm or the groove, and as the program went on, I would wake up, and it's like you wake up happy, with a bit of renewed uh, zest for life. Yeah, wake up with a smile on my face, happy to be alive, happy to get the day going, excited to get out to go to work. Um, yeah, there's just so many little things. Even the fact, for little things, is that I'm not rushed around, trying to make myself a bite to eat in the morning. I get up, go downstairs, grab a little breakfast, get in the shower. I'm not fighting with myself, trying to think of where I'm going to go for lunch or who I'm going to have a drink with, or trying to plan my day around the alcohol. I'm trying to plan it around activities, or um, just being present and being in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine the the vibe at home with your wife and your engagements with your daughter, I would imagine those are a lot smoother, calmer, less hectic.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Still, I'm not say struggling with the daughter. I'm not as open with her about the program. I'm not
Sure.
sure when I'll get to that. I think our relationship is definitely growing because I'm more present, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it's going to take some time. With my wife, there's definitely a huge shift. One of the I can't it was built off an exercise that we had done, how we view ourselves, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went and took it another step forward, and I went and asked my wife, how things have changed or how she views me now.
Mm-hmm.
And she had said that, she was far more relaxed, more confident in me, could trust me. That, when she went away, that she wasn't paranoid or losing sleep, that I would be out drinking, um, you know, confident that, the things around the house would get done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was that. So yeah, she seems a lot happier, more content with life, which, for me, I'm very content right now. Like it's been a huge change and huge shift in my mind and my thinking.
Mm-hmm. You described yourself once on a call as a more consistent human.
Yeah. I Yeah, it's just kind of everything is just kind of, you know, rolls forward at a steady speed. And,
Mm-hmm.
as I was drinking, it was always, there would always be some catastrophe that I would cook up for myself. And now it's like, it's a little bit boring, but I would rather have a boring life than, they say live in the fast lane. I'm not sure I'm built for the fast lane anymore. I quite like, getting up, enjoying the sunshine, and just really noticing the little things in life that have a lot more meaning and that I'm able to observe because I'm alcohol free.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes people will say, "Is life without drinking boring?" I would challenge the word boring. I'd say, well, what's wrong with a bit of boredom? When we are drinking, our nervous system is hijacked. And so, as John said, we're addicted to chaos to some extent. There's always something going wrong, always something happening. And it puts us in that high state of alert, fight or flight. And then, the only way to get out of that is to drink. And then you wake up and you're hungover and you've got maybe a little issue with your partner or your kid, or you can't find your keys and you're rushing out the door because you're going to be late. You're grabbing a sandwich or a cereal bar on the way out. You're eating in the car, chugging your coffee. that doesn't sound really all that fun, but it's what we know. And so, yeah, boredom. I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty nice.
Yeah. and 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 I guess to further build on how life has changed, like I just have so much more time to do stuff. Golfing, uh, more boating. My running. I'm not hungover when I go to do my runs. I don't skip
Mhm.
runs. I'm more consistent. Um, you know, Eating meals. I'm not rushing around. I usually eat pretty healthy now.
Yeah,
Like there's just so many uh, other facets of life that are just kind of falling in to fill some of the void, I guess, that was left by,
for
all the
sure.
time you spend drinking.
Hmm. That's an important point. Yes, there's a void when we stop drinking, and without that community and support and accountability and coaching, yeah, what are you going to do with all that? A big part of what we do is helping our members connect with what they really, really like and what they need, what matters to them, and pursuing those interests. To that point, John, one of the things I love, guys, about being the head coach here and having members from all over North America and all over the world is we get to share our backyards with people and our communities. And so John has shown all of us some of Canada, which is beautiful because John is, as I mentioned, a heck of a runner. So tell us what's happened with your fitness since coming into Project 90?
Um, so I've always been athletic and
Mhm.
kind of, had, some dabblings in, the CrossFit world and weightlifting, and I wanted to learn how to run. So before I became alcohol free, I started dabbling in that. But the last year, I've learned how to run half marathons. I'm running, training for uh, another half marathon that's coming up. I'm almost 50 and I'm setting personal bests in
Mhm.
5K, 10K, half marathons. And this is all attributed to the fact that I don't have alcohol in my system when I'm training with this. And I just feel so happy and so much, much more energetic.
Mhm.
Um, you know, some days are good, better than others, but a good day or a bad day is still better than a day, being hungover trying to run.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting. We're all cheering you on when you're doing
Well,
your races.
thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So John, I know that a lot of our listeners are going to relate to what you're sharing. What would you say to an individual listening and hearing about your thoughts and misgivings, skepticism before coming into Project 90? What would you say to that person?
Well, that's a great question. Um, I would say um, to put all your self doubt aside and jump in. This has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And I owe so much to Coach V and Jim and Coach Sarah and all of the members. Yeah, there's so many friendships and knowledge, um, and all of the questions, or I guess self doubt that you might have. Um, just take a leap of faith and move forward with it, because it is a great program. And it's kind of like a mobile family you have at your fingertips. all the time to reach out on the polos or discuss things that you may not have somebody close by that you can chat with. So it's just been an altering experience for me.
Thank you, Jon. Do you think they should wait to book their discovery call? Should they kick the can down the road until October, January, or should they do it now?
Don't be like me. Book it now. Trust me. If I could change anything, I would have. I would have joined the first phone call. There were some. I think I remember the phone call with Jim too, and his sales tactics with me, and the stats that he shared with me. And I said, I assure you that I won't be that person. And I held true to my word. But
Yes.
I can rest assured it took every ounce of strength in me to make the second phone call or third phone call. So I can assure you that it is going to be the best decision that you ever make, and to do it on the first call, not the third one.
Awesome. Thank you, Jon. Your story is going to help some people. What a great act of service, and is aligned with the kind of person that you are. Very, very caring for others, conscientious, good values, and you're turning that kindness in on yourself, which is great to see. So thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, if something that Jon said resonated with you, take the leap. Don't wait any longer. Like he said, why put it off? Alcohol's taken enough from you. So just a reminder, you can book that discovery call with me or one of the other amazing coaches. 15 minutes, no cost to you, and it just might kick off a whole new amazing chapter in your life. Until next time, thanks for listening. Thank you, Jon, so much. Take care and have a beautiful day.
Hi there, this is James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you would leave a review. That will help us climb the rankings and get our show exposed to so many more people who could really benefit from the content. You can do that by going into Apple Podcasts, rating the show, writing a little one-sentence summary, and posting it. That would be so amazing. Thank you. Likewise, if you would like to schedule a 15-minute exploratory call and apply for our Project 90 program, then you can do so by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. If you'd like to get the free guide, that is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Our YouTube channel is at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.